Welcome to season 2 of the Game of Stones podcast, episode 2. We are here with my esteemed colleague and friend, Jon Kaplan of Kaplan Consulting, but more importantly, the president of Poseidon Industries. People know you are associated with Poseidon, and I'm associated with Kaplan Consulting, and we just kind of assume that the whole world knows what's going on in our story, etc. So in 2010, I was running StoneMachineryLocator.com, and I was repoing a heck of a lot of stone equipment, all different brands all over the country, which I was then learning and teaching myself. I was buying them back from the banks as well, some of them. And then we were reselling them with installation, training, warranty, prorated warranty. And I called you because you inquired about us selling your old Intermac Master 2000.
That's right.
It was like a 2001 or something like that. Yep. And you were like, how much do you think I could get for this? And I was like, man, it's a really old machine. It's an old model. And I don't know what I said. And you were like, oh, really? Okay, thanks. And you hung up the phone.
I think I said, shut up, kid.
Yeah,
and then I hung
probably.
up the phone. No.
I mean, I don't know how young I sounded back then, but I remember it was a short conversation. You were very quick to the point. And I was like, oh, okay, very, very friendly guy. So fast forward.
Some people say I just take the arrow and I shoot straight to the heart.
You're much more likable in person. I'll say that. I'll say that. You're much more likable in person. So I think Brandon introduced us. We happened to be at Tice 2018. And Brandon knew of us because he lives in Tampa and he used to work for Stoneworks, which was your old shop.
Yeah.
And Brandon told me and mentioned to me, you got to meet Jon Kaplan. He runs this group called the Rockheads. You got to get into the Rockheads. Like, this technology is awesome. He'd see our machines all over Tampa. So Florida is our home state. Yeah. So of course it's full of Poseidons. I probably venture to say that there's the most amount of Poseidons in Florida compared to other brands. So Brandon set up the appointment. I think you came out to dinner with us. We reserved a table at Ferraro's, I remember. That's a nice Italian restaurant there. Yeah. And we always run into other people in the industry at that restaurant. I think we had like 20 something people there at a table. No,
it was actually an amazing experience because it was something that I didn't really expect to walk into. And that's one thing that I think really in the back of my mind was always there when we first met. And I said, I need to be associated with this guy. It was really cool. He's going to this room, everybody's having a good time. It was a loud restaurant. It was fun. You had all your customers around you, and it wasn't like it wasn't a transactional relationship. It was really, I'll call it experiential without being corny, but it was like everybody was really open, sharing, loved the equipment. It was almost like a family. And I think there was probably over 40, 50 people there. And wine was flowing, food was coming out, and everybody just talking about their businesses. And it was something that was passionate of mine because I'm always about collaboration, and I saw it firsthand in a cool social setting. And I just knew that eventually we were somehow going to come together in a line.
Because at that time, the hybrid was still in the development stage. It was more like a brainchild, but we were selling T-Rexes because the T-Rex, even working traditional, like cutting on one table, routing on the other, on the dual table, it's still probably twice as efficient as a fab center, as a one machine, one person. But I was telling you the concept of how we plan on doing the hybrid as a solution for all fabrication. Yeah. And I think it clicked in your mind. It sounded kind of like too good to be true, so I got to look into this. But I remember you saying to me, fuck, man, I wish I would have known about this when I had a shop, when I had Stoneworks.
You know, I got in this business and I didn't know, I'm a study of business. You know, my background coming from consulting and living that world. And when I got thrown into the stone business, pretty much a startup in 2002 from my shop, Stoneworks in Cleveland, I was learning as I went. And we grew so fast, and we kept investing in new equipment and other, we'll call it now competitor equipment. But I was always trying to crack the code, and people are still trying to crack that code. But I saw one of the biggest problems that I was struggling with, which was all the movement of material, and there's just so many moving parts to the stone business.
So much has to go right.
So much has to go right to make a customer happy. And I saw that as a problem, but I also saw that as an opportunity, and I wanted to figure that out. And I wasn't going to put it down until I figured it out. And I met you, and when we were chatting, and I think, we stayed out pretty late that night. It was probably like 2-3 o'clock in the morning, and it wasn't like we were partying. We were just talking. We were just geeking out on business. And I was like, man, if I could solve some of the problems, which was material waste, inefficiencies in my equipment, the struggles with water jet and water jet technology, which was driving me crazy, and just getting a countertop out the door in a quick, simple fashion was just the code that I've been trying to crack since I got in this business in 2002. I saw the opportunity, frankly, and I wanted to be a part of it.
So 2002, you get into the stone industry, Stoneworks.
Yep.
And you begin trial and error, grinding it out, working, building, and
Yep.
you build up that company. Tell us a little bit about that story.
Yeah, so I got in the business in 2002. We were a tile business. Nick Began brought me in to help, after we bought out his sister, brought me in to
And Nick Began is one of the founders of the Rockheads as well.
That's correct. Yeah, so him and I found it with 3 other guys, Eric Tryon, Paul Meninger, and Larry Crowley. May he rest in peace. He was a great guy, part of our company as well. And we were sharing best practices. And one of the things, as I started really running the group and trying to grow the group, it was important to bring the best in class and the newest technology or newest inventions in the industry or in the best customer service to the Rockhead community. And so we just didn't onboard anybody in just a willy-nilly fashion, anybody that had a heartbeat and a checkbook. We wanted to make sure that it was going to meet all the needs and be confident in what we were bringing to market. And we had some other equipment lineups, but I saw the allure of what Poseidon was and what Joe Alva was, frankly. And I thought everybody needed to hear that story and be a part of it. And Poseidon wasn't the biggest company at that time. And so it was more understanding that what Poseidon was all about, what Joe Alva was all about, and what the T-Rex could become. And so I thought that needed to be a part of our group. And so, yeah, I think I onboarded you as one of the top sponsorships, frankly.
Well, that's the first thing, too, that I began to network as a company into that group. I figured I'd go for the best if I was going to start networking because I was really stuck in it's not any secret. Like, I've been doing a lot of the heavy lifting in Poseidon from the on.
Can I share something while we're in this mode? So something you've never known. I would have sold you the sponsorship at a lot less money.
I remember it was one of the biggest things I ever invested in that first year. That's for sure, in my company's history. But yeah, doing a lot of the heavy lifting, you get stuck in your bubble, just like fabricators, right? Yep. They know everything about the templating. They're overseeing really the whole business, the templating. They're checking in on the installs, the fabrication in the shop. They're learning the machines too themselves, and getting involved in sales and closing and collecting. And I was doing the same thing. I was running service. I was running field service scheduling. I was sitting there building machinery, so building a whole new line of machinery. People don't realize, like, we really build machines from start to finish. We were building our own bridge saws, building our own panels. The only thing we partnered with the Edge Machine Company in Italy that I've been working with for over 20 years, 25 years now, almost.
Yep.
One of the first machines I sold, we're still working together, and we figured Edge machines are so many small parts. It's better a guy that just does that. And but other than that, the bridge saws, the CNCs, like we build them, right? We design them with partners. Now we're just in charge of our own designs, in charge of our own manufacturing. But building the company from 2010, I tell a lot of people, really the economy didn't start picking up for new equipment until 15, 16. So those first 5 or 6 years were a real grind. I was still doing a lot of used equipment, but that used equipment that I think a lot of people don't know about, we put our hands, and I used to work hands-on, install machines, take them out, repo them myself. We put our hands on every brand of CNC machinery in the industry. Italian, American, saw jets, routers, 3-axis. That gave us a great foundation to build what today is the T-Rex and the hybrid cycle. Because one of the first reactions we get with the hybrid cycle is, hey, we can manufacture 3 times faster. You're gonna end up with less machines, probably half the number of machines you have, 30% less employees. And people are like, this is too good to be true. Why didn't somebody do it before? Why wasn't it thought of before? How come, or maybe how come this guy is the one that's bringing it to market, right?
Yeah.
So that's the reason why, I think, is because we have a unique experience that frankly nobody else has. You grab a team of technicians from any other competitor's company, nobody can say like our team of techs that we put our hands on, learned, rebuilt, fixed, improved. I would put granite slabs on top of aluminum planks. Like we just had a friend of ours make a post on the SFA. You know, I really want to put stone on top of these aluminum planks on my CNC. It's Italian. And we did that. We would put granite on top of the, mill it down, put a new origin, and then we would work with Blick vacuum pods. So it was easier. I didn't have to buy these custom vacuum pods from Italy. So all these little things we did. And then after that, I told my team, like, we're going to do Poseidon. That's our new brand. And, you know, if we don't make this work, we should get the heck out of this industry.
Yeah, we don't talk enough about our team and what's behind Poseidon. Everybody thinks it's just Joe Alva out there reselling an Italian machine, and there's a lot of people behind the scenes that and intelligence behind the scenes that have developed the process. You know, it'd be, if we don't share the talent of Eduardo Vertiz or Guillermo Vertiz or Santi behind the scenes and how we get the equipment manufactured, and Rosa, who does the welding and the panel building that we do, and our Poseidon Italy team, we'd be selling ourselves short. Eddie, who can take apart and put together any machine in the industry, and he has, is
I
really
still submit,
taking,
I think he's the
those.
best, one of the top 5 best technicians in the country.
Absolutely.
I tell people a story, like you could have the US Navy bring him on a submarine and nobody can find what's wrong with the submarine, and give him like 45 minutes and tool set, and he'll figure out what it is and fix it. And anybody that's met him and knows him can probably attest to that.
Absolutely. We're fortunate to have him as part of our team. You know, one of the things in my story when we met is I was buying shops and fixing them and turning them around, and my vision was to buy broken granite shops. And there, by the way, there's no shortage of broken granite shops.
Broken ones?
Broken granite shops that need fixed. Ones that are losing
There's a
money.
few of them. There's a few. Depends where you're at in the United
I know they're not
States.
watching the Game of Stones, but if you are, we're here to help. So we owned, and just by default, when I was buying these companies, all different types of equipment.
Yeah.
I've experienced all different types of technicians and problem solvers, and
well, you scaled
say with
Stoneworks up
confidence.
to how much in volume?
yeah, we got to 50 million.
How many locations?
We had 4 locations. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm pretty certain that at that volume, you were in situations that something broke, something was down, you needed to deliver, and it was costing you many, many dollars every minute that was going by.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also fighting the fight of all these different systems and learning that, and then keeping the team together to keep that going. We were doing 100 kitchens a day.
Wow.
And so, and there wasn't any shortage of, I need to talk to the owner
Yeah.
problems. So we had to we had a lot of data at our fingertips to try to solve those problems.
Right.
None was.
And I think you told me a story that you really, like something that almost was like walking into, like when you go to a Massage Envy and you hear that like healing spa music, that one of the sounds that you really enjoyed was hearing the water jet turn on to start cutting.
Oh, my chest! I gotta. Yeah, actually, there was times where I would walk into some of my shop and I would be like, "We need to turn this off. Why are we doing it this way? It didn't make any sense to me, and we were struggling and fighting it." And then, working through the tank cleaning parties on the weekends and the mess that it created, and it was just a struggle. And so that's one of the things that I love about the T-Rex.
What did you say that you guys figured out with the Rockheads was the approximate monthly cost total of parts, labor, pumping out tanks, slats, hardy backer, all that stuff for the water jet per shift, I think.
Well, I'll tell you what I was experiencing back in the mid, I'll say like 2015, 16 time frame. I was crunching.
Stuff is more expensive nowadays, of course.
Yeah, of course. So I was crunching the numbers. I was analyzing it because it was driving me insane. The cost of kicking it out the door, and when you go from diamonds to intensifier pumps to backer board to fixing the slats on your table to the tank cleaning, all that, I was probably at $5,500 $5,500 a month on each machine that I had, just working through that. That doesn't include the downtime that I had working through that, which was significant. And frankly, the downtime was more costly, which was harder to put a number on that opportunity cost. And working through that is just, way more than the $5,500 a month that it costs. But that was just the cherry on top of the sundae.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, those are great machines, those saw jets, water jets. I don't have anything against them.
Yeah.
But I think that for the fabricator, our solution to the hybrid cycle, like one thing that people don't take into account is that monthly expense when you're analyzing the saw jet. What are you getting?
Sure.
You're just getting cutting. But what people don't realize too is that per slab that goes into a saw jet, that comes out of it, there's a labor time associated with having to also clean up those water jet scuff marks in labor hours. I think I analyzed it by hand. It's about 45 minutes per slab, if not more, of labor time just to clean that up. Whether you're doing it by hand or extra passes, people will do extra seam wheel passes on a 3-axis router, which means less square feet production because you're doing extra passes of a tool to clean something up before edging. And that's something that you don't calculate, right? If you're doing 1,000 slabs a month, well, that works out to 1,000 hours almost of labor associated with that. And so those conversations aren't really had and aren't really analyzed, because I think another thing that happens in our industry, because it's the only thing that you could really measure easily, everybody's worried about or talking about how fast they can cut. But the real question, if you want to make money, right, is how fast does it take to the end? And that's something that we are able to quantify very easily now with the hybrid cycle. Per slab, how long does it take to the end?
It's no different than what you hear about the economy, and the economy goes up and down. That when you can have predictable metrics and predictable success and manage your business with predictability, you can do a much better job and control those labor costs, what I'll call contribution margin, when you really know what it takes. And the T-Rex makes that simple. And that's why I think a lot of people miss that. You have that predictability in your business, and it doesn't matter what material you have. People say, oh, well, I have a quartzite job or I have a Decton job. And we just don't care when you have a T-Rex, which is that predictability creates profitability.
You kind of set some trends, I think, in the industry by buying shops and doing that model with Stoneworks. Yeah. And I think a lot of companies followed suit around the same time. And I think that gives you a strong knowledge of the business side of a lot of granite shops that helped me, because as I was speaking with in the episode prior with Dwan, I was explaining how, I became a sponsor to the Rockets, but then I started attending a little bit more of the events.
Yep.
And I started seeing all these granite shops that you had consulted for, and they were just talking about, hey man, I was able to finally get myself out of the business. And I was like, what? Get myself out of the business? Really? Is that possible? What would that feel like, you know?
Right.
And that's when we had the conversation. I said, hey, I'm not a granite shop, but would you be willing to, consult for me? And I remember you said, yeah, I'll consult for you. And I think that that's where you started also taking a look at the internal, aside from the dinner, now you were exposed to my inner circle of my whole team, how I interact with them, how we interact at Poseidon. I kept asking you for more time, right? I was like, because you do a trip when you come out at the initial 6 months.
Yep.
And then I said, I need you to come out again. And then you came out another time. And then I was like, I need you to come out again. And you were joking. And you were like, if you need me to come out, you got to move me down to Florida. And then I said to myself, well, shit, if you're willing to entertain that, it's because you believe in, obviously, the product, the technology, but also in me and the team. And I thought that was great. So that's how we got to talking about.
Yeah, it's cool for me because a lot of times you don't get the opportunity when you develop a partnership or get involved in a business. But I got to check under the hood and help develop it and be part of it before I jumped in it.
Yeah.
So I'm not crazy. I fell in love with the technology and what it could do, and I thought about it, what it would have done for my stone business. And then my clients at the time, and so I introduced you and Poseidon to many of my dear friends and clients with confidence, knowing that it would deliver. Dewan being one of my first consulting clients. And so by putting that together.
Before I even knew that you guys were associated, when I connected with him at one of the events, he's probably one of the first Rockheads that I really just gelled with. And I was like, I love this guy, Yep. And the funny thing is that him and I talking inspired me also. I remember back in 2020, I was like, we were talking about community and how the industry is kind of set in its ways. And I said, man, I'm going to start doing an event that we just all like-minded shop owners and business guys get together, and we're going to do this Poseidon experience. I'm going to call it. And that kind of inspired me to do the Poseidon experience in 2021.
Yeah, I was actually one of the speakers.
Yeah, I remember.
And you put me on after David Meltzer. That was a dirty trick, but I think I held my own. But it was amazing to be part of that. And so getting to check, see the team, work with the team, understand the power of what we had there at Poseidon, and then joining in was just a great experience for me and great opportunity. So I'm thankful for that.
And I knew I needed some backing and some firepower. I was getting a little burnt out, and the years go by, and I love what I've been doing. And we had that hiatus after 2008 crisis, because I started my career in 2001. So that's when I started my own business. But I've been in the stone industry since 1998. And I learned at the Harvard, I say, of stone at a place called Casale Marble Imports in Delray Beach, Florida. And I immediately was put into importing. And I was 19, but I spoke Spanish and Italian, so that helped me. At that time, there's no quartz, there's no Turkish travertine, there's no Brazil exporting, and everything was from Italy or Spain. I started in the industry that way while I was in college, by the way, pre-med major on an academic scholarship. And I really realized that I wanted to be in business by working at the granite company, only because I started seeing that I didn't think it was for me, the path of going into, the medical industry and being in debt and really not making money till I was 40. And so that's how I got inspired to be in the stone industry. And then I opened up a tooling business and started selling in Miami. And I sold to a lot of Latino owners. I call them the underdogs of the industry, right? The Brazilian guys, the Latino guys.
Yep.
And they gave me a shot. I think they saw me hungry, 21 years old. I built a great business till 2008. We were doing millions of dollars in tooling and machinery sales, and I was me and 5 people. And I was doing installs, and I was doing troubleshooting, and I was fixing machines. And then after that, it was like, oh my gosh, you did a great job. Thank you so much. Wow, you got the picture. This is still 2009. Like, even though we have the internet, I was very fast with the technology, taking the pictures, not always from a cell phone. Like, sometimes they were a digital camera and uploading them to the computer and then immediately sending them by email. And the bank people were very happy, and they're like, hey, you know what, we got this other assignment. Can you go out of state? We'd love to. There's this machine called Northwood Sawjet, dual table, flying arm, something in Charlotte, North Carolina. And then the next call was, hey, we got this machine called Park Industries Velocity, or we got this machine called Park Industries Destiny, and so on and so forth. And then that happened with every brand, and we just went all over the United States. We started repoing like crazy. We amassed this amazing experience where one of the times the bank just begged me to make an offer on a machine. It was a Park Industries CNC router, a Destiny. Great machine, by the way. Better than the ones I think that are coming out now, because it was a single table structure where it's not monoblock. And they had this big granite slab, low vibration, like on the table, easy to mill, never have any flexion or anything. And I bought it really cheap. And I thought I had it sold because I already called a customer who dreamt about getting a CNC. And I was like, hey man, CNC, got it for sale. How much? 50 grand, you know? And I had bought it for less than 50 grand, obviously. And I'll call you back. I'll call you back. I'm gonna wire you the money tomorrow. Okay, great. Send him my wire instructions. I wait a couple days, no answer. Call him again, no answer. Finally, I go in person. Dude, why are you avoiding me, you know? And he says to me, well, I called up Park and it's really expensive to get this thing reinstalled and retrained on. And then I have no warranty, and then I don't know what's wrong with it. If something's out, motor, spindle needs to be repaired, blah, blah, blah. So now I was stuck with this machine, which I'm sure you've had Park CNCs, right? They're great CNCs.
Well, it's more about the story, frankly, that typically doesn't get sold. So this, I'll pull the consulting side of myself out. Everybody thinks it's just, instantaneous success. And I put in every one of my presentations, I always have in my PowerPoints, I put a clip from Rocky, the movie. That's one of my favorite movies, because Rocky always gets his ass kicked and then comes back, right? And everybody loves that. And that's kind of the way I look at entrepreneurs, and even my story. I got asked in one of my business groups that I'm in to tell my story, and I go up to the whiteboard, and it's kind of funny. Everybody loves it. I say, first I was broke. And then I put a dot up, and I go, then I was rich. Then I was broke. Then I was rich again. Then I was broke. And so that's, a lot of people have that story. And, I would say you were probably sweating with that CNC machine on the books. And when you had to go home and celebrate your wife's birthday.
Well, I was lucky. I was lucky it was a Park Industries, because I got to say, like, Park Industries does a phenomenal job with their manuals. It's very detailed. It's very easy. Like, if you want to learn it, like, you will learn it from their manuals. You can't say the same about other companies. And so when I got their manual, I asked my guys to hook it up to power at night. I said, let's learn this thing. So first I taught myself the machine, how to work with it. And they got a cool software on it that you could really draw the job on the machine, and you don't really even need the CAD CAM.
Yeah.
And so we taught ourselves the machine. And then I talked to a broker, and I said, how much more could we sell the machine if we could give some peace of mind? Like installation, training. And he's like, what about warranty? And that was another puzzle I had to solve.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do I create a decent thing that's something that people would want and feel is fair and feel good about, but not like massacre me, because I'm not going to sell it at new machine price, obviously, right? So I think we figured on a price range for new low hours CNC 3-axis router by Park. It's like 110 grand. But this was with some new blick pods and some new profile wheels. so new tooling, installation, training, and the warranty that I came up with, I called it a prorated warranty. So basically what it was, okay, a new warranty is 12 months. I did 9 months. And I said, okay, you're buying it for 115. Let's say the machine brand new is 300. So the approximate ratio is 1-3. What I'm selling you the machine to a new machine. So within 9 months, if a part that was $10, or let's say $9, it's an easier ratio calculation. If it was $9, then I would contribute $3, which is 1-3, in the same ratio that you paid for a not new machine, you know? And everybody loved that. And they were like, no, that sounds fair. At least they had something, you know, some peace of mind. So we did the install, the training. Man, after we did the first one, like it just blew up. Because then I started telling all the brokers, I'm willing to do this with any machine. And they were like, what? I was like, yeah. I figured if I could do it with a Park, I could do it with Brembana, Intermac, Bavoloni, Prusiani, Breton. We did it with every brand. I still have the customers everybody can talk to, because I did over 100 CNCs like that. And some of them, like I said, we would put the granite on top if I didn't like the aluminum planks. Some of them I'd change the vacuum pump. I would make tweaks of things that I knew worked, and we'd make the machine work, do a prorated warranty. Nobody's ever done that I know of in the industry, anywhere in the world. In Europe, in the US, I've never heard of anybody do that. We did it. We did it. It's a fact. That's the basis that gave us the foundation to make Poseidon equipment.
Well, it was the ability to see what the pros of each piece of equipment was, the cons of each piece of equipment, and then really creating the perfect Frankenstein in the T-Rex and eliminate the headaches that or the problems that we saw in the other machines. And that's really how the hybrid cycle and the ability to do everything, that's, I think, one thing that is not clear in the industry, is that we can do everything with the T-Rex without the water jet. We can accomplish the goal without the water jet component, and that's a head scratcher to everybody. And so we can accomplish any type of project, from high end to custom.
It's actually better custom. That's the misinterpretation too. A lot of people look at it and they're like, "Oh, this is great for production." Some of our first customers were production guys, and that's a lot of the footage too out there. So they're like, "Oh, this is great for cookie cutter production."
Right.
What we're seeing now that we've been put to the test by our prospects is that it's actually better if you're doing custom. So like integrated sinks, miters, traditional cut triple waterfall with the curves and the Mickey Mouse, the lamination. We have some great lamination videos. The first safest OSHA friendly, and I say OSHA friendly because it's all done on one machine, build up, stacked lamination, 4cm, 6cm. It's all done on one machine process and one machine cycle with one operator. That is the most efficient it's ever been done in the history of the stone industry. People don't understand that.
Just less movements, less people. It's just common sense that it's going to be more efficient and effective.
Yeah, follows all the lean manufacturing Six Sigma rules, basically.
That's right.
But outside of all the production rates in the shop, part I love about it is the simplicity of the management of it, right?
Yep.
So you only have T-Rexes and basically inline polishers for backsplashes and straight pieces.
Yep.
And that's it, and you're done. And then you can scale that with so much ease. And then we offer remote programming. We also are doing virtual reality training on virtual reality goggles, which helps also replace people in an emergency. Somebody gets sick that runs a machine, or somebody gets sick that programs.
Yeah, we also, which I think is really taking us to the next level, is our process documentation system. It's really
I was going to ask you about the Whale software.
It's a game changer that we built into Poseidon and now into our consulting clients, where we have everything built in and self-training and self-learning to be able to scale your business, which is the problem. So it's the single source of truth for any business. And we also put in there, when you invest in that software, We put in all the Poseidon operations, training, maintenance, and it's just a system that's easy to follow. It's like investing in a McDonald's franchise, and now you know how to make the fries, and it goes a minute and 32 seconds to make fries. We know that in the T-Rex and in our processes that are documented there, how to share that with our customers. Great testimonial. We just worked with Metro. They have a huge project where they're doing multiple integrated sinks, and we showed them. We sent the process over to them in their whale system. We poured it right over how to do integrated sinks on the T-Rex.
Yeah, because we've pre-drawn different size integrated the DXFs already, so it's like plug and play.
Well, we did videos and we created the step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4 with checklists, words, pictures, videos, and quizzes. We sent it over to their programming department. He learned it in less than an hour, called back, had no questions, and then made the first model of an integrated sink in less than an hour. And he's ready to do this project, which has over 40 integrated sinks. He's ready to go. Did not even tie up our service department to get that going. It's a huge case study. So thank you, Christian.
And we also do it in Espanol and Portuguese.
Well, it goes Spanish, Portuguese, French, and Dutch.
So one of the important and impactful things that we've built out is the whale software.
Yep.
Which is for processes, which I think is one of the main kryptonites of stone shops. Really any business, right? Any entrepreneur is the ability to have the correct SOPs and procedures that are easily able to be followed by their staff. And what we've been doing for the past couple of years now is building out the whale process software.
Yeah, 3 years now.
From all of our consulting customers, which are granite shops,
yep,
templating, installations, and then our T-Rex customers, hybrid cycle shops.
Templating, installations, human resources, accounting, sales training,
Scripts,
what to expect.
Job descriptions,
yep,
which
all built in.
Basically all the tools that you would need as a business owner if you own a granite shop that really simplify your processes, holding your people accountable to start off, because it's a lot of it's processes that are tedious to make. They're boring, let's face it. Nobody wants to sit there and make their own process. Step A to Z for templating, step A to Z for install. And then you have different types of jobs, right? Miters are different than regular kitchens, etc. But we have the whale process software, which is amazing. But also Kaplan Consulting. Kaplan Consulting is something that unfortunately, it's in high demand. We've had to tailor it for T-Rex shops, right? Poseidon shops only, because of the fact that it's just gonna be way less work in the manufacturing side, which is a huge part of it, right? Like I feel like there's a three, kind of like Poseidon with the trident, right? There's a three-prong.
Your problems bounce from sales, operations to finance. And sometimes it's happening at all three, and that's what Kaplan Consulting helps focus in on.
I was gonna say manufacturing, operations, finance, and then sales.
Listen, I know that when we go into a consulting client, the guns to my head, that I think you said in the stone world that the fee is not cheap, and it's not cheap but it pays for itself. So I think it's not.
I think it pays dividends. It doesn't pay for,
I think we should charge more, frankly.
Yeah.
But the thing to consider is, I know the guns to the firm's head every time someone signs an engagement letter to start the engagement. They're writing the check for that fee month after month. The owner is looking at that fee and saying, am I getting my money's worth at a multiple? And we know that we're giving back, minimum 2 to 5 times multiple of that fee. And we know that. And one of the solutions is, we hear the buzzword $T in our industry. I call it contribution margin, but whatever you call it, it's reducing your costs and producing more with less, and really looking at profitability and cash flow. That's the key. So when the equipment and the equipment lineup and the ease of training and all those costs that go into that, and the solution is in our back pocket, which only makes sense, and it pays for itself just by reducing the operating costs, it's just
A no-brainer.
a no-brainer that I have to introduce it.
Right.
And so that's what's happening with our clients, which are now Poseidon owners, or eventually Poseidon owners, that they embrace that and they get that, because now they see what we can
The
do.
whale software is where it's at. I think it's the most complete, comprehensive. It's dialed in. It's easy to use.
Yeah, I have to use the buzzword because it's just what everybody talks about, even though AI, artificial intelligence, has been around since 2016. Most people don't really know that. They think it's just happening now. That's not true. It's been around. The language models have been around since 2016. I've been working with Whale for 3 years now, and partnering to grow and improve the stone industry. So it's now really just taking hold because people are now getting more comfortable. But there's a lot of packaged AI built into the system
I noticed
to
that.
help develop that, which just really takes it to the next level.
Yeah.
Literally taking a video of a process and it creating that process for you. And I like to use the tagline: version 1 is better than version none. And that gets you there with the way the process system works, the way Whale works.
Well, that's awesome. And we're happy to showcase the software. We have, I believe, monthly or bi-monthly webinars, right, for Whale.
Yep.
That you can sign up for. Is that on the Kaplan Consulting website?
Yeah, so if you went to my website, jkaplanconsulting.com, we started a collaboration group for people interested in Whale and Whale users, where we share processes and experiences with it. And we meet once a month, and it's free to join the group. And you can sign up right there on the website,
Yeah.
and
I see.
then become part of the group.
And
then you get a free version of the Whale when you sign up, and then we introduce the full version. But you can see it when you're part of the group and start playing with it.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much for, number one, believing in me and Poseidon and being a part of Poseidon and this whole journey as we revolutionize the stone industry, as we bring this innovation that truly is the future of countertop fabrication. I appreciate all the knowledge and wisdom I've learned from you, and I'm sure that our circle and our network appreciates you as well. Thanks for founding the Rockheads with your co-founders, and all the knowledge that you bring to the industry, because I know you want to see the whole industry advance. I know that's what you're about, and I appreciate you coming on today, man.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
buddy.